Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and first thing I want to say to you is Happy New Year. I hope that 2015 is the greatest year of your life, and I want to encourage you to realize that you control your own crystal ball. You are your own fortune teller in many, many ways. I encourage you to decide each day, just take it day by day, decide that each day is going to be the day that you want it to be. And if you take it day by day, then you can create the year that you want. It is in your power. Believe in yourself. Never give up. Don't be afraid of your dreams. That's what I want to tell you for 2015. So let's set some goals and let's accomplish them. Now, I want to talk real quickly about Nicki Minaj. In case you uh, aren't aware, I typically have a lot of things to say about hip hop because I think hip hop has such a broad cultural influence. Hip hop is one of the most beautiful and powerful art forms in the world. Commercialized hip hop, the hip hop we hear on the radio, unfortunately has deviated from the roots of what hip hop is supposed to be. So what's really sad now is that if you really want to hear a real rapper, you really want to hear the good rappers, you need to go to the internet, YouTube, stuff like that. The stuff on the radio is really not an authentic voice from the black community. It's really corporate speech with a black face on it. That's basically what it is. So, in fact, I did an interview with Chris Broussard from ESPN recently, and he made a very good point that this music is basically racist. And so you may say, well, how can the music be racist if the artists are black? It doesn't matter what color the puppet is. What matters is the thinking of the puppet master. And so I want to dig into that a little bit because we know the puppet masters are not typically black people. There are a few of them in power positions. But if you look at who runs Sony, it ain't black people. You look at who runs Universal, it ain't black people. What I'm going to go into real quick, and I'm not going to go into the whole spectrum of my thoughts on hip hop. You can find a lot of that. I actually have a lecture series that we put out called "Commercialized Hip Hop: The Gospel of Self Destruction," which you can Google that and find that if you'd like to hear that. But speaking on Nicki Minaj, um, you know, I saw Nikki did this interview with Rolling Stone magazine, and I follow Nikki pretty closely because she runs with Young Money and Cash Money. That to me is, in my opinion, is kind of the epicenter of a lot of what hip hop is right now. Of course, there are a lot of other outlets, a lot of other artists, but you look at Lil Wayne, Drake, Nicki Minaj. I mean, they got a hell of a thing going on there, and I respect that to a point. Um, but just because I respect you and appreciate your talent does not mean that I'm not going to challenge you if I think that your message is harmful to the people I care about. And so that was why you saw the challenge that we pushed on Lil Wayne a couple of years ago, and I had no problem helping to kill his Mountain Dew endorsement deal, because I wanted to send a message that we have people in the community that want artists and labels to use that amazing power they have to create life and not death. In my opinion, anybody who think about this, if a white cop goes out and says "kill that nigga," we'd be marching in the streets, we'd be protesting because that's clearly racist. But for some reason, when a black rapper says "kill that nigga," we start dancing. We think that that's okay. And my argument is that anybody who advocates for the systematic extermination of African American people might as well be a member of the Ku Klux Klan. So literally, I would just say that we have to really look at things for what they are and not be deluded or distracted by the race of the person who's saying these things, because the greatest weapon that any person has in their life is their mind. So when you allow somebody to take the minds of your children and hijack them and get them to think in a way that is ultimately self-destructive, you're losing the war before the war even begins. The war is declared on you, and you don't even know you're in a battle. So with Nikki, she gave an interview with Rolling Stone magazine. She was talking more about activism among artists, speaking out on social issues, whether it's Eric Garner, Michael Brown, anything else. And she basically, her argument was that the reason artists don't speak up is because they get torn apart. She pointed out Kanye West and said, "Look at what happened to him. He was a spokesperson for hip hop, and they made him apologize, and they ripped him to pieces." And I thought about that, and I said, that's interesting because, to be honest with you, it really comes off as a cop out. It doesn't mean that Nikki wasn't well intended in what she said, but I'm going to offer an alternative point of view. First and foremost, most progress comes with some kind of struggle. If you look all throughout history, whether you talk about people that wanted to end slavery, or you talk about people that wanted to fight in the civil rights movement, or if you go around the world and look for people that wanted to fight for peace, um, you know, most of the time when you try to create progress, there's going to be struggle because effectively what you're doing is you're taking power away from people who are profiting from whatever chaos and destruction has been created in the first place. When people stood up against apartheid, there were a lot of critics of those who were protesting against apartheid because there were people who were making money from apartheid, who were protecting their power from apartheid. So anytime there's progress, there's gonna be a struggle. So if you're looking for life to always be comfortable and for everybody to love you, then the best way to do that is to keep doing whatever weak crap they have you doing to begin with. If you want everybody to like you in life, just let people kick you around and treat you like crap, and they'll always love you. But understand there's a difference between people liking you and people respecting you. People respect you when you stand up for something, when you are a person who believes in something, when you are a person that has values and principles and integrity. They don't respect you when you are such a slave to the dollar bill that you will do any old whorish, ridiculous thing necessary to keep the attention so you can keep making your money. And that's what I think. If I were talking to Nikki, if Nikki were my daughter or something like that, or my sister, I would say to her, what matters to you in life other than making money and having people like you? Okay, people are always going to like you if you take your clothes off because you got a nice body. Good for you. People are always going to like you if you remain silent and let them walk all over your people. Good for you. But truth is that, when I look at old school Nicki Minaj and I look at how much she changed as a person in order to try to fit into the industry, I see a person with very low self-esteem where she's morphing and bending herself to become this one-dimensional creature that is just a fraction of who she really could have been, all because she's worried about people not liking her. She's worried about there being a backlash if she chooses to speak up or take some degree of accountability or something like that. And what's interesting too, so the first thought here that I'll share with you, just kind of as a finance professor, my PhD's in finance, is that money matters. Money's very important. I'll be the first one to tell you that. But if all you can do is worship money, then effectively you've become a one-dimensional character. You are pretty much chopping off 95% of the scope of your humanity because you are catering to nothing but a dollar bill. And that's an issue right there. I think even more deeply, what is interesting to me as well about Nicki Minaj's remarks is that to some extent, even her commitment to being an artist is undermined by such a weak statement about taking a stand on any important issue. And what I mean by that is she's really, I would argue, violating her commitment to artistic expression by saying, look, we're not going to speak up on things because we're afraid, because people will tear us apart. So effectively what you're saying is that you're not going to do what an artist does. An artist raps about what's in their heart. They talk about what's going on in the world. They talk about how they feel. They allow their spirit to guide them in their creative expression. But by you saying that I'm gonna censor myself in all areas that might be defined controversial, then what you're saying is that you have no interest in maintaining even your own artistic freedom and expression. That basically you've somehow confused artistic speech with corporate speech. You're saying that I'm not going to even be an artist. I'm going to be a corporate spokesperson because the corporation is telling me that they don't want me to talk about women's rights. They don't want me to talk about the rights of black people. They don't want me to talk about the inequality in America or mass incarceration. They want me to talk about niggas, money, bitches, hoes, getting money, going to the club, shooting black people in the head, all these other things that are coming out of this music. That's what the corporation is telling you to say. So ultimately, what I would just say is that, and I'm not here to really attack Nicki necessarily on this. I probably sound like I'm frustrated with her. I'm not really frustrated. It is what she does. But I would just say that we have to critically analyze this and really sort of think about what some of these artists are saying, who's telling them to say it, and what the real implications are of what is being said. When you look at an artist like, say, for example, Bobby Shmurda out of New York, Bobby Shmurda is a really talented young guy, but in every video he's always doing this, and he's because he promotes gun violence, he promotes shooting other black men, he promotes really what is becoming a form of genocide, given that handgun violence is the number one killer of black men in America. Hip hop did not invent handguns, hip hop did not shoot anybody, but hip hop certainly profits and promotes and glorifies the death and murder of young black men. And what's really unfortunate as well is that now you see that Bobby Shmurda is on his way to prison on a gun charge. I don't know if he's going to get convicted or not, but he's been arrested on a gun charge along with a lot of his friends. And so, to me, Epic Records, the blood is on their hands. I mean, they're the ones who accelerated his commitment, his naive, youthful commitment to promoting gun violence by saying, here, not only do we want you to keep rapping about killing black men, but we're going to give you a couple $1 million to do it. And so as a result, they've ruined this kid's life, not to mention the lives of anybody who followed him or emulated or listened to the music that's coming out, because kids, teenagers kind of do what they think is cool. They, especially in the hood, if you have easy access to guns, and all you're hearing every morning in your headphones, it going into your subconscious brain is kill that nigga, kill that nigga, kill that nigga, kill that nigga. Well, guess what? When you get into a stressful situation, your brain goes back to its most primitive thinking. Whatever you've brainwashed yourself to believe, whatever you've programmed into your mind is what is going to emerge. So you're in a hood, you're in a dangerous situation already. There's easy access to guns. You got a gun, maybe it's for protection or for something else. So you get into a stressful situation. What are you going to do? Kill that nigga, because that's what's been programmed into your brain. That's the danger of glorifying and mass promoting destructive messages to young black men. So, what I would just say is that if I were signing a guy like Bobby Shmurda, I would still give him an opportunity because he's good. He clearly has people that follow him and love him. But I would just say, let's try to structure a message that creates life as opposed to celebrating death. You can be just as powerful when you build as you are when you destroy. You can be just as great of a black man by elevating your people as you are by stepping on your people and keeping them oppressed. And I think that's the fundamental argument here. And I think it's very difficult to disagree with that. I mean, the most you can really say is that you don't care. And unfortunately, I think with Nicki Minaj, I think she cares behind the scenes. In fact, I really believe she cares. And in fact, even with Lil Wayne, when I really listen to Lil Wayne talk, I see a very intelligent black man, very intelligent. And I think deep down, Lil Wayne, if we were to have a heart-to-heart conversation about this, he would understand a lot of the issues that I talk about, probably even more than I do, because he's probably had more friends murdered than I have, which means that he can't, with any reasonable conscience, feel that it's okay to glorify black male homicide. He's probably had more friends go to prison than I have, which means that he cannot feel comfortable profiting and promoting and glorifying actions and activity that will lead to black men going to prison. He's seen poverty more than a lot of people have, and there's no way he can really want to keep black people ignorant and poor. So I would almost say that we're on the same side. The difference is that maybe I'm challenging them by saying by basically throwing salt in the game and just saying, look, I know you're getting money from this, but is money really worth the cost of your soul? Is it really worth the damage that you're doing to these young children who glorify you, who idolize you? And I don't think that I can't imagine that these intelligent people, and they are intelligent, and anybody who doesn't think these artists are brilliant people is out of their mind. Anybody who's ever tried to rap knows how hard it is. Anybody who's really listened to their music carefully knows how brilliant their wordplay is. So there's no way you can convince me that these geniuses don't understand what's going on. The worst they can really say is that I don't care because I've been trained to worship a dollar bill. And by worshiping a dollar bill, what's happened is you've reduced yourself from a multidimensional genius to a one-dimensional dunce, a one-dimensional robot who works for a corporation whose only objective at the end of the day is to run through as many people as possible so they can keep getting money. And I think that we can be better than that. I think we should be better than that. You can still get paid and not destroy your community in the process. And that's the point I have for Nicki Minaj and Lil Wayne and anybody else who's listening. Well, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World. Please take care. God bless. I'm gone. Have a good new year. And remember, 2015 is your year. Go do your thing. Don't be afraid. Don't let anybody stop you. Set your goals. Set them high. Go at them every single day. Be very consistent. And I promise you that any dream that you set for yourself is attainable if you truly believe in it. Talk to you soon. Peace.